right. I think we're ready. Am I muted? Not muted. All right. Good morning, or evening, or day, wherever it is that you are, whatever it is that you're doing. I hope you are having a good one. Today is well, I'd say that it's the second afternoon stream of the weekend, but yesterday I actually skipped the cooking stream, and I do have to apologize for that. I've been experiencing a little bit of a burnout lately, and I just kind of needed 1 day break. I didn't even want to announce anything because, like, on Friday I was at the grocery shop and I was like thinking about which ingredients to buy, and I realized that I just needed one afternoon off. So yesterday I took it. So yeah, sorry about that, but I will definitely be back with it next week. Hi, Neko, welcome back. How are you doing today? Today we are back with our community content. There is a ton that I've been wanting to catch up with. Some of the videos that you guys posted in the React channel, and first of all, thank you for that. Some of them I already watched, and you can find those reactions in the on the channel. There's a playlist that I recently made. It's like the community videos reactions, and I just basically took all these videos and put them into that folder, not folder. Oh my god, playlist. And you can find all of them over there. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can scroll through the past footage and stuff. But yeah, thanks for that. I did take out all the new stuff, and we're gonna watch it today. Luneth, welcome back. What's up? Dude, good. Finally got a weekend off to enjoy the streams fully. Nice. Are you feeling better? I hope your cold stage is is all over and done with. I was actually really worried when you told me, but I'm glad that you were already at the at the recovery stage. But anyway, today we're gonna watch a ton of stuff, and as per usual, because my my laptop gets used for cartoons as well during the week, sometimes my audio is a bit out of whack. So if it is out of whack, just let me know and I'll adjust. But yeah, that is pretty much what we're gonna do today. I'm actually very excited for these clips. I've been dying to see some of them. But yeah, I was waiting for Sunday so that I can watch it with you guys. Anyway, what have you been up to? Just trying to make sure you can't see this red light. I know you guys don't care about it, but like it's just there bothering me. Like I should tape it with something, right? Like it's so obvious. It's so it's so annoying. Even when I cover with my fingers, you can see the color of my blood in my fingers. So that doesn't work work out at all. Can I move it somewhere so that you can still hear me? How about this? How about I put it here so I don't see the red light? Huh? You can still hear me, but I'm not being eternally. But I'm still bothered by it. How about this? Sorry, I'm just like getting overly consumed with the stuff that I shouldn't be consumed with. But anyway, my coffee is of course there because I need it. This is actually my second coffee of the day. I probably do not need this coffee at all, but I just really wanted it. Hi, Morgan, welcome back. Blood, what do I miss? No, nothing really. But like when you cover like a source of light with your finger, see how your finger glows pink? Like that's not the like even if this was white light, you would still see the finger as red, and that's because there's blood in your finger. So that's pretty much what's glowing. I thought that was pretty cool. When I found out, it was also very obvious. So I should have known before, but no, the blood is on the inside still. It is not on the outside. So rest assured, I am good to go. Anyway, there are plenty of things that we're gonna see today. This is the video of I think this is Ifrit Extreme. I don't actually know what this is, but oh god, Ifrit Extreme, how it went down. Is this like someone else's video or compilation or whatever? I don't know. We're gonna find out. Good, thanks. Just chilling, spending some much needed family time. I'm glad to hear that. I think you should do that as much as possible. Is this okay? I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna watch it before you guys get impatient and and tell me.
Good job, good job. Clear these out.
I remember Ifrit Extreme. Oh.
All right, get Sea Lion up. Sea Lion taunt. Sea Lion taunt.
That's very sad. What? Oh. Oh, this is so good.
Survive to limit break. Survive to limit break. Survive.
Oh, I remember when this used to make me feel things. Holy Nova, let's go! Oh, this is still such a good cinematic to this day. Oh my god, the hair!
Stand as one for the Alliance! Take it home! Take it home! Get out of it!
That is exactly how it went.
There we go! We can still kill it! We can still kill it!
Oh god. That was so good.
Bro. I would suck your dick right now. I would suck your dick so hard.
Oh my god, thanks guys for sharing that. Yeah, the hair. Jeez. No, the cinematics that WoW makes are so gorgeous. Like I remember when the cinematic for Battle for Azeroth came out, I was so excited. I spent my whole life playing Alliance, and when I saw that, I was on the Horde team. I was sold by that cinematic. Like I literally wanted to switch, and I did switch at the beginning of, what was it? It wasn't until later in Battle for Azeroth that I switched. But then I just realized that the cinematic has nothing to do with with what the community is like, really. I just kind of went to the Horde side, and I just realized they're all little pieces of shit, and I came back to the Alliance. So I wasn't at all excited over the prospect of being on the Horde team anymore. Yeah, like you would expect that when you see a cinematic like that that's what the game looks like, but no. That is just like a movie, and you don't even get those movies in game. This is not like a cutscene that you'd normally see from within the game, which is totally different from FF14, because the way FF14 does things is like the animation is completely in sync, like throughout the cinematics. Some of the renders are better. Some of the things that you can see in Final Fantasy cinematics are also better, but you can really tell, like when you go through the MSQ, you can really recognize these little things that are a part of the cinematic, and they don't look that much different. This never appears in the actual game. Like this is not part of the gameplay or anything. This is just like a story being told that has nothing to do with you as a character, because none of this shit went down. So anyway, that's pretty much the difference. No, the art team of Blizzard carries all the other teams on their backs, and especially the environment teams, because the environments in WoW are actually gorgeous. So yeah, they're the ones selling the expansions. Okay, this is something that I wanted to see because of like what's been going on last week, and I guess like I'm not sure what this video is about, but I'm guessing this has to do with like the whole NFTs, and I don't know, maybe people being angry about that, or being angry at or what is this? Like I don't actually know what the whole drama was about. I would assume that it's because of like the NFTs being introduced within Square Enix, and people just kind of redirecting their feelings towards the dev team. And I don't know, like I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan because at the end of the day, they've been doing such a great job over the past years that it's just not fair to. They're not even the messenger. I was about to say it's not fair to blame the messenger, but they're not even the ones carrying the message. The carrier of the message is literally the person responsible for it. So kind of attacking the dev team for it would be wrong. But I honestly don't know if this is about the NFTs or not. But we're gonna have to watch the video and kind of find out. Is the sound okay, by the way?
Around Yoshi P's recent statement on the Japanese radio mock station stream, and for those who are unaware, let me get you up to speed on what he said about asking FF14 players to be kinder with their feedback to his development team. And then I'll go on to share my thoughts on the matter, especially coming from another MMO in World of Warcraft previously, where I've seen the dev team lost its love for the player base to the extent where they stopped taking feedback from players for years now. The quotes from Yoshi P I will be showing on screen are translated by 11 Mile from the Final Fantasy XIV Reddit. If you want to hear the original Japanese segment of the talk show, you can find the link in the description below. So Yoshi P starts off by saying he's firstly grateful of player feedback, and I think we can all agree feedback, if done right, does lead.
Wait, okay, I want to read it myself because he kind of just like skims through it. Of course, I'm thankful and grateful for players to tell us that we should do this or should be that and whatnot, but verbal abuses are something we wish it can stop. Well, I would like to think myself as having a strong mental level in Japan, but not everyone shares the same mental strength as I do. So yeah, I can understand that from the cultural
lead to
standpoint.
Improvements in the game and the service. However, he hits the nail on the head with his next line, which is, it's not okay to verbally abuse his development team.
No, of course
now,
not.
Yoshi P does
No one
not
should
explicitly talk about what is the topic of feedback or what it was about. But if you follow the Reddit thread on the matter, which I will also link in the description, it seems that the feedback stems from a very small but very vocal part of the JP community who have been posting on the official forums around job balancing. In particular, the chatter is about that of samurai job balancing. This is of course a suspected reason. Of course, there's no definite proof that this is what Yoshi P was referring to, but nonetheless, I think it's a good wake-up call to take Yoshi P's message seriously, even outside of the JP community where we speak other languages. And I'll come back to this point later in this video. Yoshi P then went on to explain.
So it apparently has nothing to do with the NFTs, because like I have been seeing some pretty toxic stuff on Twitter myself, with people just kind of reacting negatively to it, which is understandable, but also not really choosing the right channel, I guess, or the right way or the right words to do so. So I thought it was about that.
And he personally has a lot of mental resilience towards negative abuse, but he cannot expect everyone on his team to be able to process it in the same way. And of course, look, Yoshi P is a veteran in this industry.
I love how he's looking after his team, though. Like, he wants them in a good mental state, and this is something that, as a leader and as someone responsible for your team, you should always be making sure that the people do this.
He's the man who probably faced the harshest of criticisms when he was tasked to revive FF14 from the ashes of 1.0. But I can totally imagine his team having some really promising talent, be it in story writing, design, or other aspects of the game, and they are likely less battle-hardened against internet negativity and trolls. The last thing we want to do is to extinguish the flames of passion and inspiration these talented members of his team have for FF14, and we will get to what that looks like later in this video. And you know Yoshi P is hinting at exactly that when he goes on to say, while he understands there are many new players who recently joined FF14 from other games,
so there are players who experience Endwalker as their first expansion, so it's a given that there will be mistakes and errors here and there, but after 11 years of journey with players, up to this point, it does make me feel that the language used ended up in a little overboard there. I mean, I can take it, but staff members will feel really down after getting those words when they give their absolute best into trying to create something where everyone can enjoy. And this may end up making them no longer create things that are fun from there on. So I have only one request to every player out there. Please imagine how they'd feel before sending your feedback over, and I'll be happy if people can do so politely. I'll be honest, like, I feel an amount of guilt, not responsibility, but like a collective guilt as someone who is coming from the World of Warcraft community. I really hope that this has not been influenced by like all of us coming over to the game. I hope that this is not the result of it. I understand that it might be to some extent, but the way things have worked in the WoW community so far is that people are used to just screaming into the void. People are used to not really not no one really listening to them on the other side. So they say whatever it is on their mind, and they have no regards as to like what the other person feels when they read it, because the player base normally thinks that their comments aren't being read at all, and they're not used to developers actually just kind of sitting there dwelling on their comments, because they think that the developers don't give a shit. So I hope this is not us. Like, I don't identify myself with that particular community, but I have to say us, because I was also one of the people who joined in the past year. So hopefully that was not the reason for all of this. Ugh.
Or they came back from Endwalker for the new expansion, he thinks that it's natural that there'll always be people who find imperfection within the game. However, he said specifically that he felt that the language used went a little overboard with respect to the feedback that was given to his team. Again, he says that he can take it as the lead of a game, but it doesn't mean that his staff is unaffected. In fact, he says that staff members will feel really down after hearing those abusive feedback from the community, after giving their absolute best in trying to create something where people can enjoy.
Hi Hans, welcome back, and True Country 89 also welcome. How are you doing? Yeah, you can send everything on Discord, like in the stuff to react to, and I will get to it next week. This week I already like took all the videos out, and I have an amount of time to watch them. But I will definitely get down to that in my next stream. Thank you. And my coffee is absolutely cold. It always is. So I can just drink it all day long, and it will still have the same texture, structure, color, shape, taste, and whatnot.
And here's the most important bit, that this might end up making them no longer want to create things that's fun from there on. Does this sound familiar? Can you think of another MMORPG that used to hold the world's imagination and attention, but in recent years have become no longer fun? And again, we'll get to this in a bit. Yoshi P then goes on to talk about how such abusive language is not constructive for his staff members, and it results in people getting gradually hurt.
That is why it will result in staff members getting gradually hurt, and it's especially evident when the staff member worked so hard on it, and this doesn't help anyone, neither the staff members nor the players either. This will completely drain away their motivation, and worse, they'll end up quitting because of it, which is why I hope that everyone can understand that. Considering things have been getting really extreme lately, and with staff members putting their all to make it work, I mean, of course, I don't mean everything should be given praise. Mistakes are mistakes, of course, and they should be notified, but I'll appreciate it if everyone can give careful thought in their thoughts and feedback. Yeah, this is very well said, and I can't imagine how those people feel. And I'm on one hand, like, I'm very, very, very glad that they feel, that way, in a way that they actually are present for the feedback, that they're around, that they're ready to take feedback. But I hate the fact that that feedback is the way it is. So hopefully everyone can just, kind of calm down and touch some grass and be nice to other people. Yeah, it is a jerk move. Absolutely.
And he said this doesn't really help anyone in the long run, not his staff, neither the players. Because his
This is
team
not
will
an
lose their
empty threat.
motivation and they'll end up quitting in the long run.
People quit over getting abused at work, and they should. They should. If we're not good enough as a player base, they should quit on us.
And he pleads for the player base to understand this. And to me, this is another critical point that people tend to overlook. You all seen how tired the man is on every single player life letter. Yoshi P's eye bag seems to get heavier and heavier every time I see him.
Aww.
The man cannot get any good rest, unless he has a reliable team to fall back on. And he can never build a strong and reliable core team at Creative Business Unit 3 if he keeps losing young, talented people of his team. People who came in excited about the job to work on a game title of their dreams in FF14, only to leave the company burnt out and jaded from all the verbal abuse and written abuse from community members.
We
And I
need to
can
do
only
better.
imagine the fact they delayed Endwalker for 2 weeks, it definitely meant his team was facing time pressures. The dev team was probably working overtime to get Endwalker out to us, and let's face it, The overwhelming majority of the community agrees Endwalker is an amazing piece of work, and those devs on his team definitely shed blood, sweat, and tears to get this done on time.
They should feel, right now, they should feel nothing but happiness, nothing but joy and pride and sense of huge accomplishment after getting Endwalker out. This is their time to feel good about themselves, and they should not be feeling this like a month after the release of the most amazing expansion there ever was.
To receive abuse from a small part of the player base just because their job doesn't play right or some other random factors. I have a lot of strong emotions and thoughts about this topic, so let me tackle them one by one. Firstly, I think it's admirable Yoshi P is standing up for the dev team under his care. That's the hallmark of a great leader, a great boss. You working adults watching this video will know exactly what I mean. The primary reason why people leave their jobs is because they've got a terrible boss. And Yoshi P honestly has displayed so much empathy for his staff in this radio segment when he talked about the issue.
The problem is, like, when the community is your boss, and from the standpoint of a content creator, I can understand that. You kind of want to leave your job. Like, when the WoW community was my boss, I was getting some pretty harsh, feedback, not on the quality of my videos, but like people were just like bitter in general. And sometimes people will, leave nasty comments on my YouTube videos that had nothing to do with my videos, but the game instead. And it was just a very toxic environment that made me want to quit that environment, so...
Go play it back in Japanese for yourself. Look at the man's facial expression and emotions. And I sincerely hope that the devs on his team who are affected by the issue takes heart in the fact that Yoshi P is at the helm, and their boss is willing to stand up to unreasonable internet behavior and trolls. Secondly, for the culprits especially, the broader lesson from Yoshi P's reminder is this. Get some perspective. Always look at the big picture before you go off on a self-centered rant. Yoshi P admitted himself in the panel session that they are not perfect and there are mistakes in the game. But which game is completely flawless and perfect? And let me ask you, even with the flaws in job balancing, even with the rocky server launches, even with the 2 weeks delay, at the end of the day, did Endwalker as an expansion delight you as the player? And I think it's a resounding yes.
Like, Yoshi P needs to stop maining a black mage and needs to start maining a tank, because that's what he's been doing for his team.
Every sign on the internet points towards that. Endwalker is after all the highest user-rated expansion that Final Fantasy XIV has under its belt. That is the bigger picture. Be thankful that we had an amazing experience to play in Endwalker, and that's the flaw of human beings. We tend to take things for granted. While those internet trolls type their salty and abusive comments about a very small segment of the game regarding job balancing, they seem to have forgotten that a month ago on 3rd of December, we were enthralled by the amazing storytelling experience they underwent in Endwalker. Human beings tend not to know what is lost until it's truly gone. And let me tell you, I'm someone who deeply resonates with the meaning of this phrase. I'm someone who has dedicated 10 years of my life to World of Warcraft, and MMO I truly deeply love in its glory days, only to see it fall apart in recent years, and it's gut-wrenching and devastating. Think about the broader picture. FF14 is in such a great state. No doubt a leading MMO today. It's won so many awards this year, although ironically for this video, one of them being the Best Community Award. So to the offenders and the people hurling verbal abuse, I sincerely
stop hurting our rep.
hope it stops. Thirdly, no one is saying that you cannot give feedback. Yoshi P said it himself. They are grateful when players point out things, when players give constructive feedback. For example, the Error 20021.0 bug that they fixed was a consequence of players giving feedback on some detective work regarding internet issues. The thing that people need to understand though is that it's one thing to give feedback in a constructive manner, but it's entirely different to abuse someone while giving non-constructive feedback. There's many ways to deliver the same message, and it's the least we can do for a game you care about. Getting frustrated, getting annoyed at things in the game is fine, but what matters is how you deliver your inputs. For example, it's one thing to say, hey, I think Samurai's output is 5% lower than its counterparts, here's a graph or a chart or logs to prove it. Maybe it needs a buff to X, Y or Z ability. But it's an entirely different thing to say that whoever did job balancing for Samurai is absolutely clueless or utterly incompetent because your output is 5% lower than other jobs according to FF log.
Is this really true though? Because like I've been like, I don't know, like since I've started playing, I've been hearing good things about Samurai, but like did something change with the job in Endwalker? Like I mean of course things changed, but I haven't leveled a Samurai yet, so I really am incompetent when it comes to commenting on these things right now.
Logs, while also calling the developers all sorts of names within the same message. In both messages, you are seeking the exact same outcome. but the two ways of delivery have such a different impact on the person reading the community feedback.
But when you think about it, like, who are the people actually commenting on these things? That's such a niche community. When you think about the whole FF14 community as a whole, if you're an endgame player, you probably know plenty of people who go out of their way to see how much damage they're actually doing, and that's fine. But there are so many people who just don't care and who are just there to have a good time and play the game in a casual way, and that's totally fine. So there's like, if you look at the whole niche community of people who care about their damage, and further separate the community of samurai mains who would say these things, that's like not a lot of people. And this whole situation is somehow resurfacing and affecting everyone and affecting the way the whole community looks. So,
which brings me very nicely to the next point. Fourthly, on community feedback, we are actually fortunate that people on Yoshi P's team are reading feedback, bothering to care about what their players think.
True.
And of course, unfortunately, that leads to their emotional suffering due to certain black sheeps within the community. But the point is, currently his dev team bothers about what players think. Guess what happened when devs stopped caring about players? Because they're so jaded from what players have to say, so sick and tired of the toxicity that players display towards developers. It might lead to a scenario where they actually stop reading player feedback. Just look at the WoW community forums. And I know it's an entirely different scenario. World of Warcraft faces other issues such as employee abuse at the workplace. But this is an example where developers stopped caring about player feedback. They set up a dedicated forum where they handpick members of the community to give them feedback regarding the game itself. When players before this community forum was set up have been giving feedback for the longest time on external systems and terrible unfun grinds.
I wish we could, like, as a community, kind of reach out and do something nice and just kind of, you know, make this better, because none of us really want these people to feel that way, and we want to continue to have a good game. And considering that, you know, the game is made by humans and not just, you know, spawned out of nowhere, ugh, I don't know. Like, we just need to reach out and be better.
But has anything changed since the community forum came in place? No, the external system still exists. It still requires you to do mindless daily grinds. Just look at the upcoming patch for 9.2. Those systems are not going away.
Ugh.
And yes, you can say, well, these developers on Yoshi P's team are paid to do their job, which is to read player feedback. And I agree with that. But they are not paid to be abused as something less than a human being, and people need to recognize that. No amount of money can compensate for being emotionally abused on a daily basis. The worst case scenario is they stop caring about the community, they stop taking in player feedback, and they lost their love for the game. If there's anything you want to take away from this video, it's this. I get that most of you watching this video belong to the majority of the player base that are actually respectful of the dev team and Yoshi P. And if so, keep doing so, because it's so easy for them and for us to lose sight of the bigger picture of the good things we have in FF14 today as compared to the dark days of 1.0. They need our support, and I'm sure they are appreciative of it. As for the vocal minority hurling abuse at the developers, hopefully even if this video reaches a single individual and removes a single toxic comment from the developers' plates of comments to read, then I'm heartened to have done my part. Anyway, those are my thoughts, and if you'd like to stay tuned to my coverage of future FF14 news, make sure to hit the subscribe button right here. I'll keep you posted on the latest happenings. In case you missed this video here, I previously commented on the difference between FF developers versus WoW devs towards their players. A great reminder we should not take Yoshi P and team for granted. Thanks for watching, a shout out to my Patreon subs for keeping the channel alive. I'll see you soon.
Yeah, this is I feel like he had to do this, but at the same time, like, I just you know, I feel bad that we even came to this point that he had to, like, come out and say these things about the community who they've been creating this game for. It's like it's like you're not to blame, but at the same time you just kind of feel uncomfortable because there is there are these things happening and you just want them to stop, but you're not the one responsible and you're not the one kind of, you know, who's able to stop them, except for, you know, talking about them and just, you know, begging people to stop. But like, I just really wish people would, and people will, and I just hope that we can help them feel like they really want to do their job. Like, we don't want them to feel like they're being abused at their workplace. Nobody wants to feel like that. And the problem is that people think that the dev team is just like a team of mathematicians and engineers and IT experts and stuff. They're not just that, they're artists. And you know how hard it is for an artist to continue to do their job if they're feeling overwhelmed and by it and like abused on it, and just like you can't be creative. Like the first and foremost, what you want for these people is to feel creative, because that's how you get a good game, not by calculating the the stat squishes properly. Yes, that too, but like that's not the primary thing. And all the rest of the things are important. Coding is important, and polishing these things is important, but you want these people to have good ideas, and you can't have good ideas if you're feeling bad about things. So we need to do better. Yeah, exactly. Like even if you're not being super successful at your clears or whatever, like if you have a good party that you can like mess around with and just have fun, like sometimes these things don't really matter all that much. And I don't know, I just wish people would see games less as a job. It's kind of hypocritical coming from me, who does this as a job. But like I wish people would just kind of not appreciate their time less. Like no one should appreciate their time less, but I wish people would take more joy in just being there and just kind of being with friends and having fun. It's not always about the clears. And that's why I've been urging, like in all of our party groups and stuff, I've been urging for people to actually join our voice chat if they're not shy, so that they can see that we're not just there to clear the content, get the gear and stuff. Yes, we are, but like we're also there to have fun and to talk to each other and make stupid jokes. So yeah, I think I might be biased, but I think more people should do that. Anyway, this is another one that I've been wanting to see. This is a video about, what is this? Divine Light weapons. These are all the weapons from the Endwalker Extreme. I actually are these all the Heidelin weapons? Okay, some of these I have, but I've been wanting to see all of them, because that is going to heavily influence the decision on what to level next. So if you haven't seen these and you don't want to spoil yourself before you go to the extremes, maybe it's a good idea to skip those. But I wanna see them. Wanna make my decisions on my next leveling job. Aw. I love my weapons. Like, it just feels so cool to be a pally and just like get 2 things, whereas everyone else gets 1 thing. It makes you feel like you, I don't know. It makes you feel like you got a little bit more. Ooh, okay, that is gorgeous. That is a gorgeous axe. I'm not as impressed by the Dark Knight weapon. I thought it would, I don't know. I thought I would feel more feels, but like it's an okay weapon, but it's not really making me feel. It's okay. Not as good as some other gunblades. I'm not a huge fan of Kane's either, obviously. So it's pretty, but I don't know. It doesn't impress me. Okay, that's pretty cool. I do like the Codex. Probably not gonna say. Oh my god, that's so cool. This is the first time I'm seeing this animation. That is pretty cool. This one is alright. Like I said, I have little to no appreciation for healer weapons, but for the healer mains, this is probably a big deal. However, this is quite something. Look at that. These blades are gorgeous. They're okay. But like, in my opinion, too small. Like, I don't know. Like, I just don't like small weapons. Does that make sense? it's very hard for me to enjoy like little daggers and like little thingies that you hold in your hands. It's just like, oh, I want the big stuff. This one's alright. I don't know. It's okay. Some of these... I do want that one. I love the site. Probably many people do, but I'm gonna go back to Heideland for that. I'm gonna get that Kofer. This rod though, this one is good. Not good enough to make me level a black mace, but good. What are the glowing versions? Do we get them? When do we get them? For some reason I don't like this book as much. This is pretty cool though. I love that weapon. And I have this one, but I don't have a job to play it with. So cool, isn't it? I don't know, do I just get impressed by all these weapons that are bigger than my character? Probably. See, this is, for me, this is too small. I'm not gonna say invisible, I don't want to offend anyone, but like I just like flashy things, I think. Just want to wield a big sword. I mean, the animations are pretty, but I don't know. There are the ones that I definitely want to get. Like I want to get the Reaper weapon for sure. And I'd like to level a bard so that I can so that I can wield that big ass bow. All right, what else do we have? This is actually something that I've been wanting to watch. Because like I personally don't feel like DPS meters are needed, and coming from someone who's rated Mythic and WoW and who couldn't live without a DPS meter and who used to obsess over it, it's kind of I don't know, unusual, I guess, because I lost that need to look at that meter really, really fast. But it was relieving in a way, and I personally don't think we need it because I feel like it's gonna make the game feel more like WoW. And I do not want Final Fantasy to feel more like WoW. I think people have been the high-end people have their own ways of checking their damage, and I don't think everyone should just, to be honest, I don't think everyone should have easy access to this within the game, because it's just going to create these toxic environments where toxicity is unnecessary. Because you're going to get to the point where people are checking other people's damage and they're just like doing, I don't know, daily roulettes and stuff like that. It's going to create the situations where people are being toxic, and they shouldn't, because it's some casual, easy content, and no one should feel bad or targeted for like while doing it. I think if the whole group agrees, they can, do other things and like check their, DPS in other ways. But I think that having it within the game where there are communities of players who take the game completely casually, and they will sometimes do roulettes or whatever, but like they shouldn't feel like they have to outperform anyone. I think everyone should try to do their best, but I don't think having the highest DPS is something that this should be the priority in the super casual content. I think fun is the priority, but I might not be yeah, as a content creator, I should probably not be saying these things, but you know, I think unless the whole group wants to be the best they can be, and complete within the group for fun, then it's not needed. Yeah, exactly. I agree. And hi, Victor. Welcome back. How are you doing? Small weapons are easier to hide, fitting for a ninja. Yeah, I get that. It's just that I don't personally enjoy them. So I'm completely biased when it comes to that. But yeah, I just like those big weapons. I like the, you know, I started leveling a tank because I wanted a big weapon, and I thought I wanted to level a Dark Knight because of that. But like everyone's been kind of talking me out of Dark Knight currently because apparently it sucks. I don't know. I never really played a Dark Knight, but I'm happy with my Pally because I've developed an appreciation for getting two things instead of one. So it's good. What is this? Yeah, okay. I know what this is.
Hey Buns, today I want to talk about add-ons in Final Fantasy XIV with a focus on the DPS meter add-on. Add-ons, of course, are not allowed in the game, but they exist in sort of a weird gray area. And I want to talk about how damaging would it be, or how good would it be if official add-on support was ever implemented into this game. Some people believe that if add-ons were officially implemented into the
I think it wouldn't stop with DPS meters, and I think I think that the DPS meters would only be the beginning of this whole, you know, kind of add-on era that I think is completely unnecessary in FF14 because it would change what FF14 is as a core. Like everyone who wants to play with add-ons, like they know where the door is and they know where WoW is, so they can just go there and play their add-on game.
the game, like DPS meters and such, that they would ruin Final Fantasy XIV forever. Like they would be the worst thing to happen to 14 since Yokai Watch or since 2B's butt got nerfed. Would it be like opening a Pandora's box where
Yes.
once it's open, everything is ruined forever and
Yes.
we'll never go back to the state of innocence that we were in before? Or would add-on support perhaps resolve some overlooked problems with the game? I want to start by going over Yoshida's most recent take on this issue. And while, like I said, the focus of this video will be mostly on parsers, I might lightly touch on some other third-party tools. And I won't read the whole thing because it's real long. I'll link to it in the description box. But I just want to hit on some of the main points.
Exactly. Like there are some add-ons that don't really harm anyone, like, you know, like the G-pose add-ons and stuff like that just like allow you to, you know, take screenshots of your character. Unless you're like taking like naked screenshots of your character and like posting it around social media, making the game seem like something that it isn't, then it does damage, you know, the game and the community and the rep overall. But most people wouldn't do that, so I'd say in general these kinds of add-ons don't really harm anyone. And like if you want to like make your character look to you differently than what it looks to other people, I don't think it's damaging. It could be confusing, like for example if you're a content creator and if you're wearing Yotsu's dress on stream, like people will be like, oh, where can I get that glam? And then they get confused because they can't find it. But like in reality they can't even get it from within the game. Like these are things that are easily resolved. You can just like ask a question and then, you know, people reply to you and stuff. But it does kind of make you lose appreciation for the glam pieces, for example, that you would get from within the game. So I'd say from that point of view it would be bad. But yeah, it, like getting one type of add-ons like DPS meters and endorsing it endorses pretty much all of them. And people get creative, and add-on makers are very creative people, and I do believe that it would turn the game into something that it isn't today. So no thank you.
Stuff that he has a big problem with when it comes to these tools. First of all, Lewd Mods. So he said people have used this mod that someone has created to undress the characters in Final Fantasy XIV. Now, if you're on Final Fantasy XIV Twitter at all, there's a good chance that you've probably seen some heavily modded characters in screenshots. You might have actually seen some very nude characters, very nude and lewd characters and screenshots. And I've seen people posting screenshots of characters that don't even look like they're from Final Fantasy XIV. They're just
It's like
so
a different
heavily
game.
modded, with custom outfits, custom hairstyles, like, you know, boobies hanging out. And so obviously none of that's allowed. None of that is okay under the terms of service. And I know that some people actually have been suspended, have been issued penalties for this. So whenever we had this live letter a few months back, Yoshida said, no, it's not okay. I do not approve of this. Please do not do that. Porn laws are very strict. Stop saying I said it was okay. It's not okay. So
Good.
Lewd Mods, I still see pictures. Look, I'm not
She's not looking
think
for
what you
them,
want
but
about me, but I'm not going out of my way to see the not safe for work screenshots.
you don't have to go out of your way.
On my various social medias. They're there. They're there. Like, if you can't imagine any creature, monster, demon, or NPC from Final Fantasy XIV, or even object, and imagine that thing with a dick on it, like somebody's made a mod already that has made that possible. Obviously, considering that there are a lot of underage characters in the game, that is super, like, some of that is extremely horrible, and this is the reason why Yoshida came right out the gate on this third-party tools talk, telling people, don't do that. Don't do that. Stop it. But also in this discussion,
Yeah, to think that some of the most important Endwalker characters, not gonna spoil anything, but like, to think that they are underage, technically, it does kind of create a really weird situation where you just don't want these add-ons to be around there and don't want people to be able to do these things, no matter how they feel about these characters. Ugh, creepy.
of the third-party tools, there is ACT, of course. That's probably the one that most of us are familiar with, and that's Advanced Combat Tracker. Within this live letter, Yoshida said that basically the base function of this tool is to add up all the numbers in the battle log as they roll out, but it is an external tool, so it is bad. You should not use it. If you do use it, Yoshida went on to say, regardless if it is detectable or not, we may suddenly decide to suspend all users. Yeah, he's gonna do like a Thanos snap, and half of the players that use the ACT.
The thing I say is never search Hrothgar's in Twitter. Oh gosh, why? Should I even ask?
Will be gone. Basically, only console players will be left. That's a risk you take, so we want you to understand that. And as such, please don't do it. However, having said all that, in a strict manner, gray is still gray, considerably, okay? What is installed on your personal computer?
Okay, I have a question for all of you who do play, like, on consoles and stuff. Like, how would you even go about these add-ons? Like, there's no way to install something on your PS4, is there? Like, on your PC you can, but, like, I have no clue how it works on your like on your PlayStation or whatever. Could you even download anything and just, like, have it in the game? Like, isn't this, like, discriminative towards like all of the, like, controller players? Does that mean that, like, if you want to join a high-end group and add-ons within the game are allowed, which means that everyone doing high-end content should have it, does that mean that you're automatically disqualified from high-end content if you cannot or do not have technical abilities of any sort to install these add-ons? That would be so weird. You know, it says Bliss protect the innocent, so I shouldn't ask about Hrothgar's, right? I won't. I guess I won't look them up. But at some point I probably will, because the curiosity will get the better of me.
We do not know. So he basically said, we don't know what's going on your computer. We don't want to put spyware into the game files so that we know what's running on your computer, because we'll get sued for that. And we don't, like, they just don't want to do that. And that's one of the reasons why ACT has for so long remained in this gray area. And what we mean by that is that players use it, but as long as they're not using the information that they get from it to harass other players, to, like, mention in the party chat that, oh, you got, your trash DPS, then there's no problem. Just keep it to yourself. As far as I'm aware, as of now, have not been getting punishments for just running it, because apparently they cannot even see if it is installed. It only starts to become a bigger problem whenever it has
if you're a content creator and if you use it, you can still get caught in the crossfire, I guess, because at some point, if they do decide to make an example out of anyone actually using these add-ons, they're going to start with the ones where they actually have proof. And they can't really prove that something is installed in your PC, but if you go out and stream it and the add-on is just there, that's proof. So I don't know. Like, would that be the way?
evolved to provide more assistance to you. So he goes on to mention callouts like triggers for ACT. That's where the bot will detect mechanics happening in the game and then do a text-to-speech, like basically shouting callouts to you.
That's like DBM
every time
and
that
WoW.
those mechanics happen. Like DBM, if you're familiar with that from WoW. He said, so for example, the thing that I hate the most is fighting a battle with notification like callouts. I really don't like that, because obviously it will give you an advantage if you have the consistent, precise callouts every single time. Ask anybody that's been in a static, only, in a static situation, you're dealing with other humans. People are gonna give wrong callouts sometimes, and to do consistent callouts very well every time, that's part of your skill as a player. But if you have the bot doing the automatic callouts for you, well, you are going to have some advantage. Then speaking about this topic, we are told, and I'm continuing to quote Yoshida here, then just implement it as an official tool. But like we were saying, we won't implement it. It will definitely turn into a storm.
The problem with these things is that it creates an environment where you are absolutely expected to always follow these callouts and mechanics because they are there and readily available. So anyone who doesn't follow these very obvious things, like DBM callouts or whatever, is considered complete trash at the game. When you're in a situation where you have a raid leader or shot caller or whatever calling these things, it's like the blame is not as evident, because someone could be doing callouts too late, or someone could be a bit confused on how things are being called out. And I think how the things are being called out and discussing it actually creates a good team environment where you actually get to talk about what the best way would be to have these things called out. But instead, when you have a DBM or like an application that like calls these things out, first of all, everyone needs to have access to audio and to listen to these things, and not everyone does. You would think that everyone listens to like trial and raid music, but not everyone wears headphones while playing, and not everyone is comfortable doing that. And somehow you'd have to be connected to the game's audio and have either headphones or listen to it on your TV to be able to follow these things. And you'd automatically be seen as trash if you don't do these like, well, they start being considered basic mechanics, even though some of them are really hard to follow, just because you will always get the consistent call out, and people will think that it's just for granted that you will that you'll do it right. And if you don't, you're holding your group back, and everyone's getting annoyed because you can't do the simple thing that the add-on is asking you to do, which is dumb.
It cannot be denied that it will turn into a storm. Though there are people who say that won't happen. It will be user choice
It will happen.
and moderation. However, in Party Finders, it will be there. Quote, only people who can prove this number can join. It will absolutely be chaos. I agree to an extent. I agree that, yes, if you implemented an official damage meter that works in a similar way to the ACT parser, where so you put that in game, then yeah, people would be like, only if you can prove that you have this much DPS, then you can join. Because as it currently stands, we have players that use ACT, we have players that are using the damage meters, but because it is in this gray area, people are very hesitant to bring up damage in a party for fear of being punished, which they very well might be. And of course, demanding a certain amount of DPS is completely unacceptable. Like, you will be punished for that because it will prove that you are indeed using ACT. This is information you have to keep to yourself. The thing is, though,
You have to also be mindful that using a damage meter denies anyone the opportunity to learn their job in a high-end environment, because playing your job in a duty roulette or in fates or in an open world content of any sort is very different from getting your character inside of the raid environment, because you don't get to practice half of these skills that you would normally want to use. So what sucks is that, like, if you had this damage meter, you would like feel like if the game had the damage meter, like everyone would feel endorsed to gatekeep people who want to join their groups if they're not very good at using all of their skills. And as someone who's only recently started playing the game, taking the time to be accepted into groups, not being expected to perform perfectly, and learning the skills as you go, and having the tolerance from other players and the patience for you to like take the time and learn it, that has been invaluable for me. Because I'm not saying I'm a slow learner, but you know, I don't pick things up instantly. No one does. And that's something that wouldn't really be appreciated in a more DPS meter endorsed kind of environment, because everyone would just be like, okay, if you can't reach this number with the skill set that you have, you're out. Like, when do you even get to learn? Hi, Cupcake. Good morning. How are you doing? Hope you're having a good day. I think the feeling of first time improvising is the funniest thing, because there can still be multiple ways to clear it. I like the idea of this is the only way. Yeah, exactly. Like what's beautiful is well, yesterday actually when we were doing the trial, what's really cool is seeing that the raid group is getting some call outs, but you still see people doing things independently and surviving, you know, and doing fine, because they feel confident enough in their own skills, and they can prove to others that that is definitely not the only way. There's never just one way of beating something, unless you're really forced to use like tank LB3 or whatever to survive. But like these are the exceptions. Like there's always multiple ways of doing things, and the callouts add-ons really limit that, because they tell you the most efficient way and that's it, and the group just kind of becomes brain dead.
It fills a need. It fills a very important need that we as players have, especially those of us who actually care about improving and getting better at our jobs. Jobs in 14, a lot of them can be incredibly complex, and without the assistance of a parser to let you know what exactly you need to improve on, like you're gonna be having a much harder time at improving than someone who has access to those tools. Stone Sky Sea is something that a lot of people point to for checking your damage to make sure that you're on track. I do tend to send people there, especially console players who don't have access to a parser at all, but it's really not going to be good enough. You're not going to be able to clear the highest tier of content on Stone Sky Sea unless you have a pretty good understanding of how to do your job. And that's great, but Stone Sky Sea is so different from a normal raiding scenario. It's not comparable at all, and it's easy to miss. There's really no reason that a new...
What's really limiting is that if you're a console player and you don't have access to a DPS meter, like the way you bought the game, like your very subscription is tied to the way you play. So you can't just be like, okay, I'm just gonna switch to my PC and join the raid and use my add-ons for this fight, and then I'll go back to playing my console. You can't even do that, because you don't have access to the game if you're not subbed in that particular way. So it's very discriminative.
Player would go out of their way to seek it out, and if you're a healer, it doesn't include healing at all. So it's like it's really not... to say it's insufficient, I feel is an understatement. Not to mention the whole other dimension of raiding, which involves, you know, trying to figure out how to line up your buffs well with everyone else in your party. You're not going to be able to figure out how to do that with Stone Sky Sea, and it's probably something you might completely ignore if you don't have access to tools like ACT. We simply lack the tools to properly gauge our performance in Final Fantasy XIV, and I think that There's a lot.
I can see where she's coming from with these arguments, but there are plenty of people who have been clearing content without these add-ons by relying on communication with their team, and I will always think that's a better way.
Out there that would be motivated to improve if they had those tools available. Like,
wait, I thought you can switch PC and console with one account and sub. Why did I think that you can't? Oh, sorry about that. Huh. I thought you could. I thought you weren't able to do that.
a lot of people who probably just don't realize that they're not performing anywhere near as optimally as they should be because they just don't have that information readily available to them in game. They just see, oh, well, I've cleared the content, I've cleared the dungeon, I've cleared the trial, and so I'm good. I managed to do the content, and we all, you know, I got a commendation. I'm clearly doing a great job. Meanwhile, there's like a very good chance that you might have not even been using half of your kit the whole time. Like maybe you're a dancer, like you've learned from Lena and you've got to put up dance partner the whole time and nobody noticed.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You would have to buy the game again. Like you have to spend a double amount of money to be able to play the game in both places. So what? Like having access to these add-ons, if you're a console player, will cost you like what, 40 or 50 bucks to just have the game bought on your PC? Like no one's gonna want to do that.
You still cleared it, you know.
Most people won't.
And I think this is a massive problem that we face right now with the game. And so I've been really puzzling over this for a while now, trying to ask myself, you know, what could we add to the game? What potentially could be added to help people understand how they're doing in more realistic dungeon and raiding scenarios? How about private grades at the end of a duty? Say it's a toggleable thing and it's private to you only, and it could say maybe at the end of a dungeon, hey, you did C+ heals, you did A+ DPS, or you let your dots fall off this many times. Like, I don't know, it's probably going to be incredibly difficult to like properly gauge.
Yeah.
Maybe something kind of like in Overwatch where at the end of a match, like you get some different trophies for doing different things really well. Like maybe you would even get better bonuses from the end of the dungeon. Maybe throw in some extra poetics or something for having consistently higher grades, or even just for showing improvement over time.
Well, that would be
something
cool,
that could help
actually.
motivate you on a personal level to improve or make you feel good about some of the progress that you're making if you're learning a new job. I think that would be very, very good and healthy for the game. I don't think that it automatically has to be this conclusion of, oh, well, if we have this personal gauge of performance, then everyone's going to be really toxic about it. You could still continue to let the GMs moderate this in a similar way to which it is already being moderated, not letting players use this information to harass other people. Like, what's stopping them from just continuing to moderate it the way that they do? Maybe they just think that there would be so many more cases of it with an official DPS
there would be
system in the
I
game,
think so,
that it would become overwhelming to moderate. Now, because it's not an officially supported add-on, people are more hesitant to use it, so maybe it's easier to moderate. But we just need to be able to see some kind of stats, like something. I think it would make the game more fun, too, personally. Like, I think it would be way more fun for me every time I go into a duty roulette or something that I...
But you do see some stats. Like, when you hit something, you see the numbers. When you look at the party list, you see the amnesty. Like, there are things you can look at.
Like a personal little grade or something. Anything just to let me know if I did great. I mean, hell, even like a pass or fail system would be better than nothing. Maybe at the end of a dungeon, I could say like, hey. I
liked her idea about the extra poetics though. Like if your damage was high, like do you know how like when you play that game, like when you play I don't know, was it like karaoke or Guitar Hero or whatever? I don't remember, but like it's the game where if you like, I don't know, sing and like hit the notes, or if you like, I don't know, hit the buttons well enough, like you get like audience applauding you or whatever. Like if you do an amount of things that are recognized as good, buy the game, you get like some small bonuses. Like that'd be fun.
Hey, we noticed you didn't have a dance partner up for this amount of time. Or hey, we noticed you didn't have any sect up. Like stuff that's easy to tell. We noticed like you didn't hit any positionals this entire time. Like there's a little warning, something. Anything. Feedback on how we're doing in more realistic scenarios, not sitting there on a dummy. Like imagine if you do a dungeon, like even a raid, that you manage to do all of Copy Factory and you don't get hit by any mechanic. It would be awesome if you could get some additional bonus loot for that, or just something for yourself to make you feel proud of that. Something that people can strive toward. I know that back in the 2015, Yoshida actually seemed to have a different attitude on add-ons and mods in 14. Let me see if I can find it. Here's an article from 2015 where it said, Fantasy XIV mod support in the works. We are working on mod support UI integration for those looking into modding. We've heard people in their desire for mod support, and we acknowledge that. We're working towards implementing it.
Yeah, but this was around before the time that like the WoW community and like the way things are in World of Warcraft like really started to fall apart because of the toxicity that was in the game because of these add-ons. And it is like I think they learned from these mistakes. I honestly do think that they're mistakes, because WoW, when you have add-ons, you can make your game unrecognizable, and it's just, I don't know, everyone has their own different version of WoW and hold their different versions of things that they can track and stuff, and it's not the same game for everyone. So that kind of sucks. And I'm honestly glad that they were able to learn from that.
This was from 4 years ago, this interview where he was asked about the addition of an API for add-ons so players can add extras to the interface. How's that going? And Yoshida said that it was postponed because of the big concerns over DPS meters. And now, looking back on this interview, we see that there's been a bit of a shift in their stance on DPS meters completely. He said, if we add this system in its current form, I'm concerned players would argue about having or not having such a DPS meter. That's why we still have to decide if the use of a DPS meter will be made available. Clearly they decided no, it will not. Currently we're discussing about add-ons which you can use to make design changes in the interface to have skins, for example. And as of Shadowbringers, we now have the light theme available in game, so it seems like that is something that they are just going to introduce on their own instead of having that be something that players create for the game. So they were, between 2015 and 2016, still kind of mulling over whether it would be a good idea to add a DPS meter to the game, and it seems that they have ultimately decided no.
I think they should just like take comfort in the amount of people who have already cleared the hardest content, and that number of people can never be too big, because it is the highest rated, well, not highest rated, but like the most difficult content. But yeah, people still do manage to clear it, and I think the way the game is now, it still calls for human interaction, which is what makes people want to log in, so that they could like see those friends again next day that they went to a raid with yesterday and had such a good time with. Like, you want an environment where people actually talk and not just like listen to some artificial add-on. That's just my opinion.
That it will lead to players being incredibly toxic to each other, and maybe that is true. I mean, I'm not a game dev, and I tend to trust Yoshida's opinion on a lot of things, but I don't think that he fully appreciates the scale of the problem that we have without players having any sort of real-time access to performance checks at all. Like, there's no way you can check on your own to see how you're doing. I think this is a massive problem that maybe it's a bigger problem in the West than it is in Japan. I haven't played on JP, but I feel like a little bit of motivation and a little bit of reward for players that consistently perform
I can
well
agree
would
with that.
improve the game overall. But I could be wrong on that. I will tell you that I have a tendency to be a little bit naive about people, and I have a tendency to kind of give people the benefit of the doubt a lot of times, and I often and find myself being surprised by how nasty people can actually be. So maybe take my opinion with a grain of salt, knowing that about me. That's one of the reasons why I'm making this video today. I would really love to hear more perspectives on this. What ideas, concepts do you have for something like that? Please let me know about that in the comments section and down below. I'm really looking forward to hearing from you. Maybe you have some brand new inventive concept that...
To be honest, I can understand what she's saying. Like, I will always be the same way. I will always be of the opinion, for some reason, that like if someone's joining a group, that they have like a like basic understanding of what they're doing. And sometimes I forget that, you know, like I never act upon it or anything, but like sometimes I do forget that people are new. But like if it's the harder content, like I will always assume that people have gone through it at least once, and that they go into harder content with something that they are already comfortable with. So from that point of view, I understand that, because like in my mind, until proven differently, everyone, you know, is doing well and is a good player. But yeah, like sometimes things happen. Sometimes people want to get into harder content with something they have never been in the harder content with, and that's also fine from another point of view, where they want to expand the amount of skills that they use and learn how to use them in an environment with other people as well. So I get that, and that's also okay. It does spend a little bit of time when it comes to, you know, clearing the group, and, you know, other people kind of committing to coming there and wanting to get the clear, or wanting to prog or whatever. So I think for as long as there's communication, for as long as there's someone like, hey, you know, I'm a little bit new to this, but I'm willing to learn, I think that's fine.
Would actually work and help maybe manage some of the toxicity. I'm also a big fan of add-ons in general, like any game that allows me to download add-ons for it. Like I'll just be browsing the add-on website for no reason, like just to see if there's something cool that I would like to try out. Like I'm really into add-ons, so that's probably playing into my thoughts on this as well. I want to thank y'all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider supporting the channel on Patreon or on Twitch. You can also support the channel for free by clicking the subscribe button, or by sharing this video with your fellow warriors of darkness. Thanks again so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
It was a good video. Like overall, she had good ideas. I don't agree with all of them, but I'm just fully biased because I'm scarred by WoW. So I'm just like, no add-ons, please, thank you. But yeah, I can see how some of them are beneficial in a way, but I also think that if not everyone has access to them, it just kind of stinks to have it in game, because then everyone's gonna be expected to have them, and you're automatically like disqualified from lots of, you know, types of content, which, you know, stinks. Anyway, I want to listen to this. I think this is like a mashup or a music video sort of thing for Endwalker. It looks heavily edited. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I think we should listen to it. Okay, so yeah, Endwalker spoilers. Oops. Are all content. Oh, it's the oh, okay, cool. This is like one of the rare opportunities for me to hear the voiceovers in Japanese, so I really appreciate it.
私たち暁の血明は国家間の垣根を越えてエオルゼア全土で活動している団体です。ウルダ派の宝は金銀でも宝石でもあらぬそなたたち民じゃ。この5年我々は決死の思いでリムサロミンサを復興してきた。この誉れ高きグリダニアを、いえ愛すべきエオルゼア全土を侵略戦とする
And Japanese is such a feely language, isn't it?
偽りの神が朝礼を跋扈する証拠の地。我々が愚かな民を未来へと導く。救わねばならぬ。久しいな、光の者よ。いや、星に救う様相よ。
古の時代より歴史の影に潜み、常に混乱と戦を煽ってきた者たち。アシンは実体を持たぬ不死の存在。超える力があってなお、願いはハイデルに届かないとね。
Oh wow. I love his voice in Japanese.
真の融和のために最後の静寂を。
千年だぞ。長き祈りを超えて竜の目でさえ及ばぬというのか。貴様は一体何者なのだ。
お前にしかできない役目があるはずだろ。それをやり遂げるんだ。私はもう迷わない。どんな壁だろうとも打ち砕いて。
Oh, this was so cool.
夢はまだ遥か高み。わしらが遂げるは経典同地の大革命だ。最初で最後の友よ。
This is a very good edit.
楽しむために行うべきなのだ。
Aww.
一度見られると思っていたんだよ。彼らの
Oh no.
幸せそうな笑顔。
永遠に悲しい顔
Oh.
似合わんぞ。
俺の夢を一緒に乗せてやってほしいんだ。アバとオリが俺に夢を託してくれたみたいに。
ならば覚えている。私たちは確かに生きていたんだ。世界は決して救われないし、世界を救おうとする奴はもっと救われない。
そうだとしても届かないかもしれなくても、もらった思いを、力を次の誰かに伝えられるようになりたい。
天の暗き海にお運びください。夜の使い、闇の戦士。
あと一歩進む力が
These videos make you remember how much you've lost.
救えます。なら魂ごと持っていけ。お前はもう戦う目的がない。お前の冒険は
Wow.
ここで終わる。いや、一人にはさせないさ。
今こそ語ろう。第七霊祭の真実を。
クリスタルタワ
Aww.
ー、時の翼、
Come back.
彼方より来たりし者に次元を超えた自称観測。
Wow, that's such a cool voice.
長く続く道。あなたはそこを旅し続けている。一つ一つの冒険は
English Graha is still better, I think.
過去になっていくだろう。そこで出会った人々の声を、顔を思い出せなくなる日が来たとして、そんな時にはこれだけ思い出してほしい。どんなに遠くなろうと、すべての冒険は今日のあなたに続いている。
Aww.
どれほどの苦難と耐え難い苦しみが襲ってこようと、いつか覚えた喜びが、流した涙が、受けた祈りが、決してあなたを一
Wow.
人にはしないだろう。世界はまだ終わらせない。冒険はどこまでだって続いていく。
It's like for some reason when I hear Japanese voiceovers, everyone sounds like a little bit more, I guess, adult than what they sound to me in English. It's a very good video. It is very feely. Oh, like it's just like makes you remember all these losses, right? It's really bad. What is this? 6.1 patch name makes players laugh and is direct. I actually don't know anything about the patch, so I wanna check it out, and I just need to run to the bathroom first, so I'll be right back. Alright, we're back. I need new headphones. Only one of my headphones is currently working because I broke the other one. And that is going to probably be the next thing that I get. So annoying. We're not gonna watch this one first. I actually don't know the 6.1 patch name, so it's gonna be a surprise for me.
You might have seen Yoshi P's latest Lodestone post talking about how they will announce more details regarding 6.1 and what comes after the Endwalker 6.0 MSQs later in February this year. So naturally, I can't help but speculate what is waiting for us as the Warrior of Light in 6.1. We already know from his comments that the 7.0 expansion storyline is set. So the question is, how would 6.1 set us up for 7.0? But what you might have missed is Yoshi P actually dropped some hints regarding 6.1 and the storyline in his latest Radio Mock Station appearance. The segment is in Japanese, but I'll leave a timestamp to the Japanese talk show in the description below. Specifically on the show, Yoshi P was asked, given the Warriors of Light has already been to space, what could be left in our adventures ahead? To which he replied that indeed, even if the location changes from space, the story writing team can still depict the sort of clash of values and persistence of conviction. And he said the story from here on is already decided, but here's the most important bit. He said that the patch title for 6.1 is very direct, and he hopes players will forgive them for such a straight ball. I guess this is the opposite of a curveball. And Yoshi P went on to say when players see the title of 6.1, they will end up laughing and they will think this is, with what I think is a shocked expression. Alright, so Yoshi P was obviously trying to be vague here. But based on his hints though, I think he's hinting at something that might be more of a surprise. Firstly, I doubt we'll see new continents like the highly speculated Mericidia or the new world we're supposed to visit next. Really, because I expect these to be full-blown expansions with new zones themselves.
I honestly, like, I don't think we ever got a new zone. A new zone during the Point X patches. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I did think that, like, when you unlock flying and stuff, you could always unlock flying in the entire new expansion content, and the rest of the stuff would be happening within those new zones that came into 0.0, right? Or not. Like, I don't think there would be a new zone.
Be too much of a waste to use them for a 0.1 patch. And I can't help but wonder, given how intense 6.0 was, could 6.1 be a palate cleanser? And the reason why I think it's much needed for a palate cleanser is because we just went through some really heavy stuff in 6.0, and I won't talk too much about it due to spoilers, but I think the story team definitely need...
Okay, those closed zones, I didn't take them into consideration. I meant like zones that you'd like Okay, well, you're right. You're right. Those are new zones. I don't really have an argument against that. It's just that I haven't been exploring them all that much, so they don't come to mind straight away. But I meant more as like those zones that you would normally go to.
Need some space to build up our Warriors of Light for our next epic adventures? And what could be a better way to prepare for a new adventure by taking some time off for our Warrior of Light to just have some casual fun? And guess what is supposed to arrive in 6.1? Island Sanctuaries.
I love his
that
shirt.
one part of the game that might have been long forgotten in the hype of Endwalker. I vividly recall a good number of people being really
I'm
psyched
excited.
for more details around Island Sanctuary during the producer live letters before Endwalker release. I am no exception, of course. Honestly, I'm very
Yeah, that's the word that I was looking for. Like non-instant zones. Non-instant. That's what I said. That's not what I meant. I meant non-instanced.
very excited for this new feature in the game. I don't own a personal house with only an FC house to call home. And if this is the instance farm that it is, or instance island that it is, given how I've enjoyed Harvest Moon and Stardew Valley in the past, I can really embrace the farm life as the Warrior of Light. Be it whether it's farming, tending to my crops, optimizing my harvest, making money, collecting minions to roam around my farms, or decorating my islands, or hosting parties, the possibilities are endless. And look, I don't want to be carried away, but you get the point. I just wonder, given Yoshi P's statement about how he jokingly said 6.1's title will be very direct, and how he hopes players will forgive them for a straight ball, maybe it literally is named Island Sanctuaries? Or something along those lines? That would be really hilarious though, which again fits in with what Yoshi P is saying about players laughing when they see the title. Or maybe it's meant to make you laugh with something of more of a meme reference like Patch 6.1, Prey Return to the Waking Sands. But joke aside, of course this is entirely my speculations.
That'd be
there
funny.
are a lot of other fun stuff that could happen, that could be palette cleansers too. For instance, spending more individual time with a certain scion. Remember how in Shadowbringers you promised a certain someone that I will name, that you will go on adventures together, and something that also came up in the Endwalker references in some
that.
form. What if 6.1 is the time to go on such casual adventures and let loose
The Farmer of Light. It's hilarious.
a little? The more serious speculations though, away from the more light-hearted fun stuff, it's probably revisiting some tiny loose ends of the story so far before they set us up for the 7.0 expansions. For example, Shadowbringers open up a whole new world to the first shard, and without being too explicit here due to spoilers, we also know, as mentioned in passing the storyline, that the Scions are contemplating establishing means of traveling to the first. And naturally, I can totally imagine a few characters who are eager to revisit some old friends on the first, to catch up on the state of affairs before departing
That
on
would
our
be so
next
cool.
big adventure in 7.0. This could be another possible palette cleanser, and I can see the 6.1 patch revolving around the research regarding how to get to the first. This will also open up possibilities to travel to other shards in the future. Again, this is my speculations. Or the other possible branch is just really going deep with lore around the 12th. We know that the 6.1 alliance raid is centered around the 12th, and this is huge for lore lovers naturally. Who are these mysterious godly features? Are they related to anything we know about the ancients? We know
That's so
absolutely
cool.
nothing about them right now, so there's a chance for the 6.1 story to take us really deep into understanding the roots of the 12th. Personally, I've always been curious ever since I read the short story The Walker's Path, where we learned about the intention of Louis and Co. to tap onto the power of the 12 in sealing Bahamut during the A Realm Reborn cinematic. But just to recap though, in all honesty, given Yoshi P's hint about the title being a straightforward one, something that might result in players
Sorry.
laughing, I honestly think it will be something less serious, something more on the comical side, more light-hearted for us to take a breather, rest our weary legs before the more heavy stuff begin in 6.2 to 6.5 as a lead up to our new 7.0 adventures. I'm curious about your thoughts though. What do you think Yoshi P could be referring to
I have
by
no
his
clue.
comments regarding 6.1? Let me know in the comments below. That said though, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button right here. More Final Fantasy XIV coverage coming your way. And
I think, I honestly think that we could, if we went into depth of like everything that's happened throughout the lore, there are still these like ends that haven't been tied yet. But like you only know that they haven't been tied yet when they actually get tied because of so much content and so much stuff that has happened. Like for example, with like Orianger and Brida's parents and everything, like the way they tied up that loose end with him getting closure with the parents and whatnot, what really kind of struck me as, you know, odd, and at the same time it was so amazing, is that we would have been completely fine even if Orianger never got closure with them, but for some reason they decided to implement that into the story and just make it all all that much better, because we kind of know that it's been bothering him, but like only in Endwalker do we see like how much he's been missing her this whole time. And like the fact that they just kind of, you know, got together and got to have this moment, it just makes it so amazing, because it feels, well, let's call it unnecessary. Like they didn't have to do that, but they did, and it just feels so good. And I think that there are more things within the game that remain kind of unresolved that we were just kind of fine with, you know, with them being unresolved. Like for example, what happened to Reen and all this stuff. Like I think that like coming back to tie up more ends will give it more of a sense of closure for Endwalker. So I'm excited for that. There's more stuff that I wanted to see. This is this is a video that I haven't seen before. This is like 2 years old, but I don't know what it is. Really funny FF14 user reviews. I actually I'm really looking forward to this. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but yeah, thank you for sharing. Where are these reviews even from? I have no clue. Is this like on Steam, or I don't know. Let's watch.
Hey Buns. So, you know, I don't think I've ever sat down and actually just read reviews of Final Fantasy XIV. Shadowbringers is an extremely well-reviewed game. It's critically acclaimed and deservedly so. But I couldn't help but wonder, what about the people that didn't like it or had mixed feelings about it? Or what about people who left a positive review but maybe had something, a new take on it, a new perspective? So I want to focus on the user reviews like that today, and let's get started. Someone named Big Butts gave it a 4 out of 10 because the soundtrack is a mixed bag with some short, annoying loops and some great butt rock toward the end. Some great butt rock.
What are butt rocks?
What is that? Like, I don't... Let me Google this. What is butt rock? Why haven't I heard of it yet? Not butt rockets. I don't need to know it.
It doesn't even...
Butt rockets are... Butt rock is that musical stank on your shoe that you can't get off. It's one part aggro noise, one part self-indulgent and whiny singer, and somehow a whole lot of douche. What? Well, that sounds not as fun as I had imagined. He said it was great butt rock, so I guess it's not that bad. Butt rock sounds like what happens when you blow your own trumpet.
What the hell?
Toot the flute. If you try to sing a song in the butt rock genre, is it better if your voice cracks? Okay, I'll stop. That's not what we're here to do today. All right. Someone said that all the positive reviews, and these are all for Shadowbringers, by the way. All the positive reviews are BS or fake. Grindy, time-wasting, click...
Okay, simplified skill system with minimal new content. To drag things along, 14 million experience is required to level. To attain this, you will need to repeatedly grind a single instance over and over and over, essentially time-wasting. The quest system is more than 10 years old and incredibly clicky. The character motions are just there to waste time and have seen zero improvement from the very beginning of the game release. This person sounds like they don't want to play the game at all. The entire game is made to drag things out with extremely little actual content to enjoy. Not recommended for anyone old or new. Oh man, they need to play a bit more WoW to see what time gating is. Mostly reused music with very slight differences. New, excuse me. New tracks mostly does not fit the scene environment. The quest complete sound effect is horrifying.
It's all dragging stuff out and it's not fun. And the quest complete sound effect is horrifying.
Horrifying?
It's good.
That the word you want to use?
If you don't like that song, you are screwed. It said, great story, and that's it. Awful job design ruins everything. Tanks and healers butchered. Gunbreaker after patch 5.01. Ninja, dancer, summoner, red mage deals no damage.
No damage.
That is pretty serious bug if that's happening to you.
But I love the last one, where she just is a bunch of bad ideas. Jesus.
To you might want to take that up with support. Machinist is a bunch of bad ideas. This person gave a pretty, I think a fair review. I don't agree, but I think it's at least fair and based in reality. They said that it has a fantastic story, but they want more systems and game content besides that. They want something more like WoW's world quests and world bosses. Personally, I'm glad that I'm not grinding out crystal shards with my Crystarium dailies so I can unlock the Crystal Kitties allied race, but...
Wait, is that how you get pets? You have to do fates and get crystals? I should do more fates.
To each their own. One reviewer gave this a 10 out of 10 and said, you even begin to question yourself if the main villains are actually bad, and second guess if what you're doing is even right in the first place. The truth behind everything. The truth, guys. You know what? I can't handle the truth. Simply the best expansion release for 14. It has come to a point where you can consider 14's story as one of the best FF stories out there. And then here's the weird part. I mean, it's been censored, but I think what it says is Shadowbringers comfortable shit on a lot of RPG stories in the last decade. So, like, I've never heard that phrase before. Comfortable shit on something. If it did, that's bad news, because as Shadowbringers, we are out of TP. One person gave it a 9 out of 10, but said that a minor gripe, story-wise, for them was that sometimes, even when our character is out of position to do something, to resolve a situation to a happier end, they just watch instead for the sake of the story. For example, our character may be well in position physically to intercept an enemy to rescue someone, but instead just looks on in shock, leading to a death that could have been avoidable.
That's kind of true. Like, this is the way I felt in Shadowbringers when there was that scene. What was it? Like when they're not blasphemies, they're, what are they called? The Sin Eaters. Like when they invaded, it wasn't the Crystarium, but it was the surrounding areas. Like when we were like very scared for Lean, and when we saw like a bunch of these like soldier deaths, it's like we were there, and yes, we were fighting other enemies as well, but we literally saw people just kind of getting killed out there, and I felt like at that moment we could have done more.
I think it would add more believability if, for example, our character was on the other side of a chasm as he looks on, but that's not the case on some NPC deaths. That's a fair point, but maybe for you it's just happened so many times, it's like one of those Willy Wonka things.
Help. Police. Murder.
Stop. Don't. Stop. Don't. Come back.
FF14 is the perfect MMO. Yoshida is my papa. 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 I don't know why I read that one.
Jeez.
I thought it was weird. I don't think he has children. Maybe he does. So I just checked, and yes, he does have a son. Yoshida said, my son is in his first year of college, and he's a massive fan of Fortnite. When I went back home, he came up to me saying, Fortnite's doing something really great. They're destroying the world. You need to see it. And I'm like, well, I actually did that 6 years ago. So, he learned through Fortnite that Final Fantasy 14 has actually gone through such a moment. So, yeah. The more you know. Sorry, your kid likes Fortnite. One person said that playing Shadowbringers left them feeling satisfied and emptied, both. I probably shouldn't be laughing about that, but I'm 12. Shadowbringers, more like feels bringers. Come for the Vieira, stay for Yoshi P. Come for the fun, stay
Jeez.
for the fun. Shadow banger. One brings shadow, one brings light. This expansion is pretty tight. Oh man, I love this. It says, this game is not for you if you are impatient, need everything right now, or are a jerk to others. Man, I'm ready to copy paste that into my stream.
True.
Twitch rules.
I do consider myself a somewhat impatient person though, so how about that?
Chicken Nuggets said that it's amazing and beautiful, breathtaking, and the monsters are just so sick. Oh no. We'll tell the monsters to wash their hands, especially right now. Damn. A lot of the negative Steam reviews were because of confusion about how the Steam version works. If you buy the Steam version, you have to buy all the expansions and all of your stuff through Steam. The Steam version is not compatible with the Windows non-Steam version from their website. If you buy the Steam expansions, but your account was from their website,
So weird.
you won't be able to activate the expansion to your account. It's totally fine to play on Steam. It's not a scam. They're not stealing from you. It's just you need to go through Steam for all of your stuff if you buy it through Steam. One person said they don't recommend 14 because you have to deliver wine to secondary characters. And logistics courier. If you don't like working as a logistics courier, MMOs might not be for you. Still a catboy. Recommend it. One person said that it's not recommended because they did not get to be a bunny boy, and also Astrologian was reworked and they didn't like the rework. Honestly, I feel you. I feel you on that, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry about the no bunny boys. I really wish that we had them, and I wish... I personally am not
here we
happy
are.
about the Astrologian rework either, but
2
I'm not
years
a main healer, and all of
in
the
the
people
future.
I know that main healers seem to like
And they're
this
hot.
changes, so I feel like I don't know what I'm talking about. So is it not recommended? I'm a monk main. One guy called the previous expansions
Jeez, is
religious,
that bad?
political, social justice warrior nonsense. I mean, there were a lot of snowflakes in Ishgard, so that makes maybe that's it. And they also called Lahi that Ebola song in Raktika.
Wow. Ebola song?
I honestly, I can't stop thinking about this comment. That Ebola song? Why would you call it that? Why? 10 out of 10 with Lahi again. Lahi! Scree! This review ghostwritten by the great Serpent of Ravka. 2 words. Lahi!
These are good. I love Steam people.
Simple and good. Straight to the point. So it said, they gave me a sword
When did they fix Monk?
that also has a gun on it and allowed me to play as a large buff cat daddy. This is the best ever. 10 out of 10. Oh yeah. I love the large buff cat daddies. God, this shit is so good. I don't even want to elaborate. If you played it, you know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, just make the gamble. Spend the money. Just spend the money. Okay, I have something to sell it with. This expansion is basically one incredibly long, edging hand job. And the payoff is just as explosive.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Made my PP the big PP. Bunny girls. Recommend it. Remember us. Remember that we once
that's not a spoiler
That's
if it's
all
out
I
of
need
context.
to start this review with. Simply put, this is probably the best expansion I've ever played in a video game, even rising above the ranks of Wrath of the Lich King. I agree. No king rules forever.
Lich King was good
I've never
though.
had an MMO with such a deep story that literally got me down to my core shaking with what decisions are right and wrong, and never before had a villain played such a part that I simply fell head over heels for them. Head over heels for a video game character. That's ridiculous. I no longer require a physical presence in the mortal realm. Despite being in metric time, Card fulfilled its obligations, although it may have actually been 18 seconds shorter than a full 60 days. I'll need to recheck my calculations. I spent every minute of those 60 days in-game to get my money's worth. My pets died of starvation. My wife left me for our pool boy Hernando, so I suppose it's working as intended. On the plus side, I lost 50 pounds, maxed every crafting class, and was eternally bonded to a Mikote named Pers McFuzzy Boots. I no longer require my wife because I have Pers McFuzzy Boots. She provides me with rosewood logs. All my wife ever gave me was food. Pers said she's a Mikote, IRL, in real life for you non-gamer types. I couldn't be happier. Thank you, Square Enix, and thank you, Amazon.
God.
Star.
Oh wow.
Sounds like somebody's seen my Mikote pickup lines video. I do hope Pers is a conjurer though, so she can res your pets, because I don't want to play summoner. Guys, thanks for watching. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please consider supporting the channel on Patreon or on Twitch. You can also support the channel for free by clicking the subscribe button or by sharing this video with your fellow warriors of light. Thanks
That was a
again
good
for
one.
watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Hey, Bun.
That was a really good one. Oh god, thanks for sharing. I like today's videos. They were fun. And I don't know. Which one did you like? I thought all of them were pretty good. And I just want to say thanks for all of you who have been sharing these videos on Discord and elsewhere because it really helps, because like when you share something, I see it as like an endorsed content. So I'm always pretty happy to watch these things. I know you wouldn't trap me into something, you know, boring or weird or whatever. So thanks for all this stuff. But anyway, on that note, I will be ending today's stream. Well, this portion of today's stream for now. Anyways, I will be back tonight in 4 hours. In 4 hours for our lore night, I will be tying up some lore quests. I want to do the rest of my Reaper and Walker role quests, and also I want to do the Shadowbringers role quest for Reaper. That is I think that's the last DPS role quest that I need to do, and after that I still have the healers ones to go through, and probably the melee DPS for Endwalker as well, but yeah, I'm still getting to that point. But that's what we're doing tonight. So I will be seeing you at 9 p.m. Central European time, which is like 3 p.m. EST here on the channel, and we're gonna do that. Today we're taking a bit of a break from, you know, raids and all the stuff that normal people do. So yeah, we're gonna go and do some stories. I'm actually very, very excited about that, and I'm not going through Sage until I level up my simple white mage first. I wanna learn what healers actually do, and you should not provide me with guns and blades straight away for sure. Shadowbringers have 4 quests, and Walker has 5. Yeah, I'm gonna need the 5th type of my jobs to access these quests, but I'm getting myself there. Anyway, thank you all for watching these videos today with me. I had a lot of fun, and I hope you have a great rest of your day if I don't see you later. And even if I do see you later, have a wonderful 4 hours, and I will see you back here very soon. Thanks again. Have fun, take care, and bye bye. If I don't see you, I'll be back next week on Friday as per usual. And yeah, see you then. Bye.